good one. RE. RE performing. Well, I'm just saying that kids are singing. Said any service where I see an upright bass is a good sign.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Calais. I'll be your worship associate this morning. I still go by she, her, and we are delighted that you're here. Even with the rain, you're going to have a big variety this morning. Years ago, at the UU site on Caroline Street, how many of you remember that? All right. So you may remember the well-known quote by Margaret Mead that had a place of honor outside the building. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. During 5 tumultuous months last year, Mary Basilia lived and learned the truth of those words. She went from being a largely anonymous member of the local community to, metaphorically, wearing a scarlet M for misconduct on her breast. She found help and allies in some unexpected places as she strove to clear her name and to reform, if only in a small manner, a local political body that had forgotten that they serve the citizens who elect them to posts of power and privilege. Today, she'll share the story behind the headlines that many of you may have seen in the various media outlets last fall. We will also be hearing from our RE department under the direction of Jackie White. It is going to be a special service. Today is May 4th. Let me be the first to say, may the 4th be with you. I did not invent that. Maddie will play for us now as we begin our service together.
Today, there we go. Today's opening song is a Taylor Swift song, so if you know it, please join us. Stand up and join us, please. If you don't know it, you can just dance along. I stay out too late, got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. That's what people say. I'm on too many dates, but that could make them stay. At least that's what people say. That's what people say. But I keep cruising, can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. 'Cause the player's gonna play, 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 play. And the hater's gonna hate, 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 hate. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. I shake it off, I shake it off. Heartbreaker's gonna break, 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 break. Finger's gonna fake, 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 fake. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it off, shake it off. I never miss a beat. I'm lightning on my feet, and that's what they don't see. Ooh, that's what they don't see. Dancing kids that are singing with us this morning, please come on up so we can sing our first song for you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So I know we haven't done this in a while, but I'm going to read you a book. And the reason I'm going to read this book is because, believe it or not, it was banned from certain schools. So if you've ever heard of And Tango Makes Three, or you've ever heard of the penguins at the zoo that raised a little baby, well, you're going to hear about it now. So, in the middle of New York City, there's a great big park called Central Park. Children love to play there. It has a toy boat pond where they can sail their boats. It has a carousel to ride in the summer and an ice rink to skate in the winter. Best of all, it has its very own zoo. Every day, families of all kinds go to visit the animals that live there. But children and their parents aren't the only families at the zoo. The animals make families of their own. There are red panda bear families with mothers and fathers and furry pet red panda bear cubs. There are monkey dads and monkey moms raising noisy monkey babies. There are toad families and toucan families and cotton-top tamarin families too. And in the penguin house, there are penguin families. Every year, at the very same time, the girl penguins start noticing the boy penguins, and the boy penguins start noticing the girls. When the right girl and the right boy find each other, they become a couple. Two penguins in the penguin house were a little bit different. One was named Roy, and the other one was Silo. Roy and Silo were both boys, and they did everything together. They bowed to each other and walked together, and they sang to each other and swam together. Wherever Roy went, Silo went too. They didn't spend much time with the girl penguins, and the girl penguins didn't spend much time with them. Roy and Silo wound their necks around each other. Their keeper, Mr. Gramsci, noticed the two penguins and thought to himself, they must be in love. Roy and Silo watched how the other penguins made a home, so they built a nest of stones for themselves. Every night, Roy and Silo slept there together, just like the other penguin couples. And every morning, Roy and Silo woke up together. But one day, Roy and Silo saw that the other couples do something they could not. The mama penguin would lay an egg. She and the papa penguin would take turns keeping the egg warm, and finally it would hatch. And then there would be a baby penguin. Roy and Silo had no egg to sit on and keep warm. They had no baby chick to feed and cuddle and love. Their nest was nice, but it was a little empty. One day, Roy found something that looked like what the other penguins were hatching, and he brought it to their nest. It was only a rock. But Silo carefully sat on it, and sat, and sat. When Silo got sleepy, he slept, and when Silo was done sleeping and sitting, he swam, and Roy sat. Day after day, Silo and Roy sat on the rock, but nothing happened. Then Mr. Gramsci got an idea. He found an egg that needed to be cared for, and he brought it to Roy and Silo's nest. Roy and Silo knew just what to do. They moved the egg to the center of their nest, and every day they turned it so each side stayed warm. Some days Roy sat while Silo went for food. Other days it was Silo's turn to take care of their egg. They sat in the morning and they sat at night. They sat through lunchtime and swim time and supper. They sat at the beginning of the month and they sat at the end of the month. And then they sat all of the days in between. Until one day they heard a sound coming from inside their egg. Beep, 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 beep. It said. Roy and Silo called back. Squawk, squawk, beep, beep, answered the egg. Suddenly, a tiny hole appeared in the egg shell, and then, crack! Out came their very own baby. She had fuzzy white feathers and a funny black beak, and now Roy and Silo were fathers. We'll call her Tango, Mr. Gramsci decided, because it takes two to make a tango. Roy and Silo taught Tango how to sing for them when she was hungry. They fed her food from their beaks. They snuggled her in their nest at night. Tango was the very first penguin in the zoo to have two daddies. Soon Tango grew strong enough to leave the nest. Roy and Silo took her for a swim, just like all the other penguin families, and all of the children who came to the zoo could see Tango and her two fathers playing in the penguin house with the other penguins. Hooray, Roy! Hooray, Silo! Welcome, Tango! They cheered. At night, the three penguins returned to their nest. There they snuggled together, and like all other penguins in the penguin house, and all the other animals in the zoo, and all of the families in the big city around them, they went to sleep. Thank you.
children. Whoop. There we go. A complete shift now from what's been so charming to something that is so serious. Mary Basilia has been coming to the UU since 2003 and has been a member for most of that time. She works at the University of Mary Washington, volunteers with Rappahannock Regional Library Board of Trustees until she was summarily removed under the pretext of misconduct. Today she will share with us how she unwittingly wandered into the sights of an ambitious elected official and had to fight back against a political body that was determined to shield itself. All right. Until Mary's determination, coupled with the power of the free press, thank you, First Amendment, forced them to a reckoning. Would you please help me welcome back up here, Mary?
Thank you, Karen, and good morning, everyone. I looked up before I chose to use the title from the book, and tango is a complicated dance, and my story today is a complicated story, but let me start with reflecting again on what a great segue the reading of And Tango Makes Three provides to what I'm sharing with you all today. My story is about how someone who hoped to keep books, like that title, on the library shelves, got mixed up with politics in a most unexpected way. And it began, fittingly enough, at an unusually vibrant Central Rappahannock Regional Library Board of Trustees meeting on September 12th, 2022. Some of you may remember that meeting. In fact, some of you may have been there. At this packed event, some 31 citizens spoke up, mostly in favor of the library's diverse collection of holdings. A few were on the other side of things, worried about their children being exposed to LGBTQ plus literature or glimpsing an inappropriate title on the Libraries Act. I was in the audience, nodding and clapping for the supportive commentators. I did not speak, but my presence was noted by at least one person in the room, and it was my attendance at this event that precipitated an invitation for me to apply for the Rappahannock Regional Library Board of Trustees. Yes, it was my support of the library's freedom to purchase and hold diverse titles that led to today's tale of how a do-gooder volunteer wound up in a face-off with an ambitious local politician, and how that imbroglio led to a number of significant events, some of which are still unfolding. Let me set the stage just a little bit for those of you who are unaware, as I was, of how the Library Board of Trustees is set up. There are 7 board members. Stafford, Spotsy, and Fredericksburg each have a citizen member and a counterpart in an elected official member. Westmoreland County has a single citizen member. For Stafford, the library trustees are appointed by the County Board of Supervisors, in a process that my limited experience has taught me is as much about politics as anything else. For example, when I was appointed, although I was blissfully unaware of this fact at the time, it was by a 1-vote margin. 3 supervisors, allied in their political beliefs and apparently aware of my views of keeping library holdings diverse, were against my trustee role from day one. One of them was my very own supervisor and neighbor, Falmouth resident Meg Bonke. Just as And Tango Makes Three imparts various lessons about love, inclusivity, and family, my experience taught me a few things that I'll sprinkle into this talk. The first one is the importance of being informed. Whatever situation you find yourself in, be informed of what's going on around you. I did not. If I had taken a couple of hours to read some of the past Stafford County Board of Supervisor minutes, if I'd acquainted myself with a few of their policies and procedures early in my time as a library trustee, I would have been better equipped and prepared to cope when everything went to heck. Ever since 2016, I've been fixated on national news and to a certain extent, state news. Last summer and fall, I realized I also need to keep track, as much as I can, of local news and workings of local government. I learned this the hard way. Don't be me. Oops. To keep things moving, I will gloss over my 18 months on the library board of trustees, which were entirely uneventful. Things took a turn, however, on July 10th, 2024, when I started to get texts and voicemails from my elected official counterpart, who started as a trustee on the library board when I did. Her name is Supervisor Monica Gary, and she serves the Aquia District. Prior to this day, Monica had never done much more than say hello or goodbye to me in the time we had shared on the library board. Myself being a newbie to boards, and an introvert to boot, thought that perhaps this is how things ran. We each stayed in our separate lanes, did our duty as trustees, and that was that. Enter lesson 2. You need friends and allies everywhere, including on boards, and especially in any arena that has political nuances. Only by dint of being voted in as vice chair of the library board and having a couple of extra meetings as we started to get the wheels turning on hiring a replacement for the former library director, a lot of M names in this story, Martha Hutzel, did I get to know the library board chair, a lovely woman named Cheryl, who became a critical supporter as events spiraled last summer and fall. Back to the July 10th messages from Monica Gary. I got a text from her that hinted that something was afoot. It informed me, and I paraphrase a bit here, that there are several, including myself, on the Stafford Board of Supervisors who have concerns about how the new library director search is transpiring. She asked that I call her at my earliest convenience before she and the Board of Supervisors met that evening, and ended the text with a cheery, "Thank you so much." I called her back, a move I regretted for a long time. When we connected, she asked me to relinquish my seat on the search committee for the new library director. She wanted the seat. Why she wanted the seat is still somewhat unclear, and I won't bore you with all the inner workings of how the search committee was set up, but suffice it to say I could not give up the seat I had been assigned to. I tried to explain this to Monica, and I tried to commiserate with her about the difficulties of balancing her role on the library board along with her larger duties to Stafford. I felt the phone call went pretty well. All 10 minutes of it. Thank you, Android phone logs. We hung up, I went back to work, and she presumably headed off to her meeting that evening with the Stafford Board of Supervisors. Are you still with me? I know it's a lot. And even though I'm paring it back to the quick, I know it's a lot to absorb. Well, July 11th dawned. It was a scorcher, and it was then that I discovered that the phone call had not gone well. I was at a local surgery center waiting while my husband, Clay Calvert, had a minor procedure. Clay played a crucial role in all that came later. Clay, can you stand up for a second so everybody can see you're in good health? It was a very minor procedure. I got a phone call from the library board's chair while I was waiting, and I walked briskly outside to take it. She literally yelled into my ear as I hit the parking lot, "I can't believe she had you removed from the library board." I was dumbfounded. Who removed me? Monica Gary, of course. Why? Cheryl had no idea. I immediately thought it had to be because I would not give up my search committee seat. But neither Cheryl nor I had any means of knowing for sure, and Monica would not return Cheryl's phone calls or texts. I was too embarrassed to reach out to ask. I felt shunned, shamed, cast aside. Whoever gets kicked off of the board after 18 months, it doesn't happen, not to my knowledge. I went through the next few days in the fog. I talked to some trusted mentors, one of whom's here today, thank you, Terrell, and advisors, and the consensus was that I had best fold up my tent and move on. This is where I'll reiterate lesson 1, the importance of being informed. If I had any awareness of the Stafford Board of Supervisors policies related to board members, I might have reacted differently. Clay and I did a ton of research and processing later in the summer and fall and learned a lot about county government and the Code of Virginia as it pertains to libraries, citizen volunteers, and more. Critically, we learned, as per the Stafford Board's very own policy, that a library trustee can only be removed for dereliction of duty or misconduct. I was guilty of neither, having never missed a single meeting and certainly not having committed any sort of misconduct. But in July, we didn't know any of this. And so I mentally said goodbye to my brief time of serving Stafford in the library and went about my life. Until early August, when a headline in the online newspaper, the Fredericksburg Advance, caught my eye. It referenced the August Stafford Board of Supervisors meeting upcoming, and it occurred to me, I'm a little slow sometimes, it occurred to me that maybe I could look into past meetings and learn some details about the July 10th meeting, the one where something must have happened that led to my ouster. I did a little digging, and sure enough, I found the meeting from the July 10th meeting that Monica Gary had been rushing off to after our phone call. It didn't take too long before I clicked along and was confronted with the following. Ms. Gary, Monica, motioned, seconded by Ms. Vanucci, another supervisor, to remove Mary Basilia, the board's appointee to the Central Rappahannock Regional Library Board of Trustees, for misconduct. The voting board tally, for anyone who's curious, was unanimous. At the time, I found that devastating. Not one single elected official would stand up for a citizen being accused of misconduct. In time, I actually became grateful for the bipartisan nature of my dismissal. There was no way anybody could say the situation was political, at least not superficially, although believe me, it was. No, this was a matter of a lone citizen condemned by an entire board, Democrats, Republicans, and independent alike. After digesting what I found on the Stafford County minutes and sharing it breathlessly with Clay, I quickly decided that I needed to do my utmost to clear up what had to be a simple misunderstanding. I was hopeful, you see, that if the supervisors only knew a little bit about me, they would see the error of their ways, the charge of misconduct would be dropped, and we'd all part as maybe friends or friendly. I thus entered what I now think of as my fruitless, foolish, and naive phase of this saga. I sent numerous emails to the board as a whole, to Meg Bonke, who was chair at the time, and also, you may recall, my personal supervisor, and I even sent a certified letter to Meg. All were met with resounding silence. In addition, Clay mounted a fierce campaign to try to get some answers and wrote several times to Meg. Because we have different last names, she was unaware of his connection to me, and she was somewhat cordial to him, up to the point where he challenged some of her evasive answers, and she told him she was done with him. She did. She said, I'm not going to write to you anymore. There were other things happening as well. Monica reached out to the chair of Stafford Democrats, Howard Rudat, a man who became one of my staunchest supporters. She told him that she needed his help to fill the library board seat formerly known as mine. She told him she hoped a Stafford Democrat could take the seat. He told her, and I wish I could have seen the look on her face during this exchange, that she had removed and maligned a Stafford Democrat. There was more, much more. It was a real blur at times, but we have to skip past that in order to get to a truly pivotal lesson from my story. Sometimes you simply have to be brave. It feels odd to say that, as if I'm patting myself on the back for taking what was really a pretty small step in the grand scheme of things. But trust me, I had to gather all my courage to do what came next. What was I so worried about? Going public, sharing my story with a larger world. In short, I realized I was getting precisely nowhere on my own with regard to getting any resolution from the Stafford Board of Supervisors. They were more than content to ignore me until the end of time. I could either try to file a lawsuit, give up, or go to the press. I ruminated on this for a bit. Clay and I discussed the pros and cons extensively, and I finally reached out to Lee Van Doren, publisher of the Fredericksburg Advance, and through her and Marty Davis, I secured an interview with Adele Uphouse. We met at the Mossad YMCA. My paranoia was high. Remember, I am an introvert. I didn't even know, this is true, I didn't even know that Adele and I were members of the same fellowship, since I haven't been to UU much since COVID. Nor did I know what she would do with my story once I shared it. I muttered to myself, you will lose control of the narrative many, many times in the days leading up to our meeting, as a means of inoculating myself to this reality. Well, what Adele did with the story was magnificent. She took my tangled tale and made it make sense. Her story finally did what none of my emails, certified letter, or allies' attempts could not. It embarrassed the Stafford Board of Supervisors enough that they woke up and realized they needed to respond. Adele's piece ran in the Fredericksburg Advance on November 12th, my birthday, and on November 22nd, Meg Bomke emailed me to set up a meeting. I don't fool myself. Meg didn't suddenly realize the error of her ways. But the spotlight from the Fredericksburg Advance illuminated the wrongdoing on her part and on the part of the board she led at the time, and she was scrambling to execute some sort of damage control. Lesson 4. The power of a free press and a First Amendment are critical, so very critical in so many ways to keeping us safe and our leaders in check, and we have the right to use our voices. So yes, I met up with Meg Bomke. Clay came with me, and he never ceased to be an amazing rock and co-partner throughout this experience. And I also brought Howard Rudat, chair of the Stafford Dems. Meg brought another Stafford supervisor. I'm sure we made an interesting group as we scuttled around the Stafford cafeteria, Stafford Hospital cafeteria, which apparently is Meg's go-to for clandestine meetings. Who knew? At this brief meeting, Meg asked what I wanted the board to do. As I could not ask them to erase the past 5 months, I settled for number 1, a public apology at the December 17th Board of Supervisors meeting, and number 2, a change to the Board of Supervisors bylaws to allow any current or future citizen volunteers to have protections put in place so that they could avoid a similar railroading of their good name and reputation. She agreed. Fast forward to September 17th, 2024. The meeting of the Stafford Board of Supervisors opened with a non-apology from Chairwoman Bomke. Instead of acknowledging what her board did to a citizen, she apologized for the process by which I was informed of their action to remove me. I haven't mentioned this yet because it was so minor compared to everything else they did, but Bomke and Gary fumbled the notification process. Do you remember how I got that news and the phone call from Cheryl yelling at me in the parking lot, rather than from the Board of Supervisors in a professional manner? Well, both supervisors to some extent found it convenient to fixate on this instead of on the larger wrongs they committed. The non-apology from Bomke was disappointing. However, I was also fortunate enough to have a dozen or so friends and neighbors come to support me, and many spoke up on my behalf during the public comment portion of the meeting. Clay and our son Robert also spoke, and each of them almost brought me to tears. When they were done, I also took my 3 minutes at the mic to share a greatly abbreviated version of what I'm sharing here today. The 7 board members sat, mostly impassive, while each citizen took their turn to speak. But afterward, 5 of the 7 apologized with varying degrees of eloquence. 2 did not follow suit, but they were 2 from whom I expected little and hoped for less. I won't lie, it felt good to be finally seen, heard, and believed. A few days later, there was also a fun surprise. It was fun, honestly, when I found myself the topic of an editorial cartoon in the Fredericksburg Advance. I want to be sure that we have time for your questions, so I'll start to sum up. At the start of this talk, I said that the matter of my removal from the library board had led to a set of events, some of which are still unfolding. These include, number 1, the Stafford Board of Supervisors did put in place some improved protections for citizen volunteers in the event that they are accused of wrongdoing. They could have made these protections more robust, but they are better than what existed before, which was nothing. Number 2, Monica Gary was censured by the Stafford Board of Supervisors. In fact, she was made a scapegoat by them for all that they did to me and stripped of all her boards and committees, including her position as a trustee for the Rappahannock Regional Library. She declared herself to be out of the race for supervisor shortly after these events. A couple months later, she did a 180 and jumped back in. She also was the topic of an editorial cartoon in the Fredericksburg Advance. Jumped back in a few months later. However, she weakened her position greatly with the scandal she created and her subsequent flip-flopping and the Acquia race for supervisor will be an interesting one to watch, to say the least. On a more positive note, the Stafford Board of Supervisors, as of January 2025, has its first African American and openly gay chair in Deontay Diggs. Without this situation, I think Monica Gary might very well have become chair. She certainly was hoping to. And this important moment in Stafford's history would have been delayed. So far, Super Diggs has generally impressed me with his leadership of the board. Speaking of board chairs, after a dozen years on the Stafford Board of Supervisors, Meg Bomke is finally stepping away from politics and will not be on the ballot in November of 2025. There were a number of factors that led to her decision, and the general thinking is that the library debacle was perhaps the final straw that led to her making this decision. The two candidates running for the Falmouth seat are both relative unknowns, and I hope voter turnout will be high on November 4th. These are some of the effects of my story. But the greatest one for me is the same one that we learned about in And Tango Makes Three, and that is the final lesson I will close with. That is the importance of love, of family, and of friendship. Without Clay's unflagging support, wisdom, and righteous anger at how his wife was being treated, without all of those community members and friends who stood by me, without my son Robert, who made such an impression when he spoke at the December 17th Board of Supervisors meeting, without Howard Radat, who spent hours on the phone and at meetings with me, and without Adele Uphouse and Marty Davis of the Fredericksburg Advance, I would still be flailing internally, still wearing an invisible scarlet M on my breast, and I never would have realized through my own lived experience the truth of the Margaret Mead quote that was read earlier, and I'll say one more time again because it helped to keep me going. Never doubt, apparently I should have showed my family first. That was about love and friendship. Love and friendship. Then we get to the quote, sorry. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, that is the only thing that ever has. During this difficult time in our country, that is something I hope we can all draw hope and strength from. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions, and I hope Clay will join me to help me answer the questions.
Wait 1 second. With online viewers, maybe here. Well, thanks to Adele. If you want to stand, please. She really. Have a second.
Hello, Clay, Mary. I do have one question. So, I didn't realize that Crystal had seconded the motion to remove you. Just to refresh my memory, didn't she try to minimize her role in this whole thing?
Yes.
Crystal Vanucci, who is another supervisor who was against me from the very beginning, claimed in the pivotal December 17th meeting that she never received a single email from me about any of this, which was, I'm quite sure, a bald-faced lie.
Yes, Monica actually replied to the group email that Mary sent, so it's proof that it was at least delivered to the board.
Thanks so much, Mary. Being from Stafford for 20 some odd years, I'm saddened but not surprised at your story. And I just think this goes to prove, I had fallen off reading the newspapers and some of the free online press, and it's just so important to people. We're all so busy, but every week probably something is going down in our community that's going to affect us, like your story. And I just, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Nan, get back in there and keep reading, because that's the only way we know what's going on in our community.
Apparently they've done this to other citizens, because I spoke to one of the board members afterward on a phone call, and I said something about how it just was so hurtful that they never wrote back to my emails. And I was told, well, we do have other cases where we've gotten emails, and these people were clearly bad guys that did bad things. And I said, well, isn't that what you thought about me until I spoke up? And this board member didn't have a whole lot to say about that, but I think it gave them something to think about.
Thank you for telling your story this morning, and I'm so sorry this happened to you. And I also want to thank the Fredericksburg Advance, because I read all the articles and there was a podcast as well, which helped me understand the intricacies of this story. But I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the implications of being removed from a board for misconduct, how that might cause problems.
Well, one of the things that I've had security clearances for years, multiple security clearances, and the word misconduct is mentioned not once, not twice, but 32 times. So that's something that could impact somebody's livelihood. And even me, being married to somebody who, it could affect my renewal of my clearance. That's just one example.
That was the final straw. I could handle being removed when they lied and said I did misconduct, whatever that was supposed to mean, whatever it meant to them or anybody else. That's when I was like, that's it. They can't say lies about me and slander.
Hi, thank you very much for telling your tale. I have been on the Board of Supervisors in Stafford and also on the library board, and you're very right that the more you can learn, the better off you'll be about these things. And it's hard to go to meetings, but it really does pay off a lot of times, I think. Thank you for what you did.
Mary, do you know what the status is currently at the regional library in terms of the banning of books and so forth?
No, I'm really looped out of that now. I would know just as much as any other citizen might know about the books. I guess I'm hoping nothing bad right now, or maybe there'd be another big public meeting where we could all speak up.
I'm not here as a representative of the library, but I do work there, and no books have been banned whatsoever.
Well, I don't know if you were there, Mary, but I guess about 2 years ago, there was a big meeting at the downtown library, and Meg Bomke was there in a tizzy about some books that were in the libraries. And the community, this community turned, there was 200 people in that room, and so many people spoke out. And it just struck me about the importance of having a public voice. You guys and what you went through was terrible, and standing up, certainly took a lot. Without public accountability, over and over and over again, this stuff just is allowed to happen. My hat's off to Adele, and I'm pretty sure you were part of the student coordinating committee to save the name of the college, weren't you? Yeah. So Adele was on the student newspaper when I was at Mary Washington, but there also a student group that decided the administration there was just going to change the name, erase the one public university in the country named for a woman. And they fought it publicly, they did everything to get the word out about what polling actually said, and they won. So, that public voice, can be so powerful. Without it, well, as Jefferson said, if given the choice between government without democracy or a newspaper without a government, I wouldn't hesitate to prefer the latter, and that's why.
I was at the meeting, and you might have come in a little late, Steve. I actually have a bunch of quotes from people, and that was part of how I ended up getting on the library board in an odd sort of way, but I totally agree with everything you said. Thank you.
Hi. I'm Tabitha Leanne Van Doren's daughter. She said hi, by the way. She'd be here, but she's on vacation. But so I'm here in her stead. So I had a question. Do you think this was motivated by purely like a political move, like she wanted your chair, or do you think it's because it was motivated by a banning of books, like she didn't agree, like she wanted to ban books? Like, I'm just wondering why, why do this?
There's a variety of threads. Monica, for all her faults, she's not a book banner. She and I were more or less aligned on wanting a good, diverse library, so I won't put that at her feet. So that's Monica Gary, the person who was my counterpart on the board. Now, Meg Bomke definitely had different feelings about books, and she was the chair of the Stafford Board of Supervisors at the time, and the immediate past member on the Library Board of Trustees before Monica, just to make it more complicated. We're not sure if Monica was trying to get in good with the Stafford Democrats. That's one theory. She was hoping somehow that by removing me, a non-entity, she could cozy up to the Stafford Democrats and grant somebody this wonderful seat on the library board. Totally backfired. And I don't know, what do you think?
I think that she mainly wanted more power to be able to, she wanted to be in that position to decide the new board of directors, and that at least part of the Stafford board had asked her to make sure that she was in that position so they could, pick out a penny pincher, Yeah. One more? One more?
Was it actually ever articulated to you what your misconduct was?
No, because as soon as it came to
Of course
light,
not.
there were two things actually. Apparently, at that meeting on July 11th, on July 10th, some of the board members decided to seize upon the idea that misconduct was equivalent to me not giving up my seat on the search committee. Monica didn't agree with that, but she thought that the fact that I had commiserated with her in my talk, I mentioned this briefly, that when she and I were on the phone, she was basically whining about how difficult it was to be a supervisor and she had to answer to two masters and blah, blah, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's too bad, I'm sorry, I only have to answer to the library. It must be really hard to have to answer to the Board of Supervisors and to also answer to the library board, and my role is simpler than yours. I said something like that. I was trying to be nice, which was a huge mistake. She construed that and twisted that into Mary hates Stafford County, she is a disloyal citizen, and she only cares about the library, therefore that's misconduct. And so that accounts for 4 out of the 7. I don't know what the other 3 were thinking. Go along with it. One argued a little bit, apparently. She put up a couple of squawks about should we really be doing this, and maybe this isn't a nice thing to do. But in the end, she folded as well. But I was glad in the end that they all did, all 7 of them.
Well, that's ridiculous because it's basically McCarthyism.
Sorry?
It's basically McCarthyism.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. One thing to
Smear
note
you
is
with
they
a
kept
name.
hiding. Go ahead.
Smear you with a name and just try to persecute you.
One thing is they kept hiding behind saying, oh, we can't talk about what's in a closed meeting and because it's a state law. And when I asked what state law, which come to find out doesn't exist, Lorton County passed an ordinance in 2020 to make closed meetings private, but that's when Meg Bomke said, I will not answer your question. Thank you very much.
Let's talk about some announcements. Our community meals. Once a month, we help out the Micah Ministry with a community meal. It's the last Monday of the month. And particularly during the summer months, we have a very difficult time getting volunteers for that. So if you have a Monday night that you would be willing to help, it's from 2 to 7, right, Kit? 2 to 7. If you could help us out, especially during the summer months, that would be a big help. You can see Kit for more information, or Susan. Yes. They're both going, what? Or Kit. Or Ann, or you can let me know and I'll get you into the right place. All right. Right after this service, UU 101, if you're interested in becoming a member of this fellowship, this is the quickest and easiest way for you to become a member. We do this on the first Sunday of the month. You attend 3 of these, and then you can sign the book, and boom, you get all the privileges and honor of being a member of the UUFF. So Kit is leading that. Are you going to be in the boardroom? Right over here, right after the service. You are encouraged to attend. This Tuesday night, we have a special event. Some of you, let's see, I'm looking for a name. There we go. Marcia Grimsley. Some of you attended her class. She was here for the Spirit Fair. She's also done several workshops and things here in our fellowship. She's a local life coach, and she's coming here on Tuesday night to talk about stress reduction. Natural things that you can do to reduce the stress in your life. If you would like to come to that, that's this Tuesday night at 6:45 p.m. this Tuesday night. There's a new book group that's getting started next week. They're going to meet at 9:30 in the sofa room, and they're going to be talking about Mary Piper's book, Women Rowing North. So if you'd like to come and be a part of that, that's at 9:30 in the sofa room on Sunday mornings. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Karen with Joys and Concerns.
We do have one. I'm referring to the ones that I pick up from the basket out there that you all have a chance to fill in. This is from Kit Carver and Randy Walther. Please could we take a minute this morning to mourn with our families and friends the loss of jobs that is hitting Virginia so hard thanks to the federal cuts. So let's just take a moment. Thank you, and I'm going to ask everyone to stand if you are able. We're going to close our service in just a moment, but before we do, let me remind you, we rely on your generous gifts to keep this fellowship operating, and if you have enjoyed today's service and want to see this fellowship grow and continue to be a positive light in our community, then I encourage you to give generously. There's an offering basket near the doors as you head that direction. Excuse me. Perhaps this morning you have a private joy or concern on your heart. If so, we invite you to silently come up and place a pebble in the bowl of water that is right down here as a token of whatever you're holding in your heart. You may do that now as well as contribute to our offering as our musicians, plural, will play. Thank you.
Hello. All right, we're going to sing our closing song. This is Happy, so feel free to join us on Happy. All right, let's do it. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air like I don't care, and baby, by the way, because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here comes bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why, because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. My level's too high to bring me down. Can't nothing bring me down. I said, bring me down. Can't nothing bring me down. My level's too high to bring me down. Can't nothing bring me down. I said, because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Thank you all so much. Thank you to this great band we have going today. Thank you to the kids.